maybe I'll start with a couple of questions and then open it up to everyone on stage. You said a few things in the introduction, but I wanted to go back about the origin of the story and how you encounter the book The Friend and what made you want to specifically adapt this one to go into the collaboration with Sigrid.
Well, we read a review of Sigrid's book right when it came out, and then we read the book. And
you read the review first.
We read the review first, yeah.
Just to be sure, don't want to read a bad book.
Thank you.
It's okay, you had a very good reviews.
So we, as I said earlier, excuse me, we were just taken with the story, and Sigrid's agent made it very easy for us to meet and talk, and Sigrid was really open to the idea of us adapting it, and she said, "It's yours. Don't ask me to contribute."
She probably also imagined it would never happen.
So she said yes. She was like, well, nothing will come out of this, so it's okay. I'm safe. My writing is safe.
Right? but that was in 2018, like soon after the book was published. So it's been a very long. There were many interruptions. The pandemic interrupted, and the strikes interrupted, and so when Naomi read the script and became interested in it, and we started talking to her about it, and we started talking to Bill about it, it was just something we had spent many years being very persistent about, just because, as I said earlier, and I really mean it very sincerely, it's been a labor of love from the beginning.
Naomi, did you read the review or the script?
I read the script, yes, and then promptly went straight to the book and devoured it and got really lost in it. I think for me, the central theme of grief is something that comes up again and again in my work. If there's any repetition, that would be probably the thing that I seem to want to examine over and over again. And I just loved it. I loved the soul of this woman and the conceit of, her dealing with grief and this impossible situation, and then being able to move through it because she's able to connect with this gigantic beast that could upend her life at any second. So I loved the absurdity in that as well as the beauty.
It's a really beautiful performance. The timing, the way you deliver the grief with a lot of subtlety also in the emotion, it's really, really beautiful. I also loved the book, and it was hard to imagine how it would be portrayed by real actors, because you have some idea in your head, and you never want to be disappointed, and it was just a pure pleasure to see the incarnation of the characters. Can you talk a little bit about casting All the Wives? And I wanted to know if you were given a choice of picking which one. And I feel really bad for wife number 2 because she's not the
I'm taking credit for all of them.
It's like, you're the nice one. You can be the wife number 1, but I don't know about wife number 2. Yeah, can you do it?
I mean, it was a real process, like finding, you're always piecing together all the things at the same time, and any part that moves, it kind of affects how you see the whole puzzle coming together. So anyway, arriving at this collection of beautiful souls was a journey, and I can't remember even how it all happened or when, but we brought all the right people together.
I can say that I remember clearly my situation because you guys had been shooting and someone else was going to play this role and ultimately wasn't let out of another job, as is always the case, or often the case. And Naomi called and said, "Would you want to come and play next week?" It was like it was a Thursday night when I read the script and a Monday at 5 a.m. when we were all shooting together on a boat. It was such a, so I always am so, love this person as a person and as a performer. And so, that was just an exciting, thought. And then I had to sort of figure out how to rework my life to be able to make that happen right away. And we were able to meet, and it was such a beautiful sort of cast assembled. So it was a wonderful, for me, I got to know wife number one very fast. And I love her. I found that the wives reflect so much about Bill Murray's character, you know? I mean, you really do find out who he is through these choices, which is interesting.
Well, it was a call from Naomi as well. And I went,
See, Naomi really was.
yeah, no, she was working out. It was great.
She takes credit. She actually means it.
Yeah, it really does. And it was a lovely call. It's like, okay, you're involved in it. And she did say the 2 magic words for me. I'm so sorry, guys. Bill Murray. And then I was like, I went, do I get to meet him? No. But I'll play his wife. But beautiful. I'm always grateful to a writer to meet the writer, any creativity like this. So thank you, Sigrid. Thank you.
I didn't get the call from Naomi. I got it the old-fashioned way from my agent. You know, and I loved the book. I thought it was a beautiful book. And I'm always trying to do a character that's different than the last person I played. And Tuesday was very different than anybody I'd ever played. And I had a lot of fun doing it.
So it's an independent production since you get actors doing casting, director as well? Is it everybody has to do multitasking?
Yes.
But I think Constance Naomi will call you for the next role. You don't even need an agent
Definitely.
anymore. She's handling you.
I'll be waiting by the phone now.
Well, when we spoke with Naomi about the script the first time, she said, who are you thinking about for playing Walter? And we had always, for our first idea for Walter, it was Bill. And we said, well, it's Bill Murray. And Naomi said, that's amazing, that's such a great idea. And then she kind of froze for a second and said, you're not expecting me to call him, are you?
Sure enough.
And we said, no, we're really, really not. She hung up and immediately called Bill.
And cut to me going into the basement of the Bowery to hand deliver a printed script with a bottle of wine and the book. And, you know, I had to say, could you please send this to Bill Murray's room? He's going to accept the package. And because he doesn't read he doesn't have an agent. He doesn't have really email or anything like that. He's... Yeah, and he's not here. He apologizes. He would be entertaining you, for sure, but he's playing golf, and he's in Scotland, and he wishes he could be here. And I said, what do you mean you're not going to be here? Like, how can you do this to me? And he went, well, why don't you come here? And I said, really? Like, what? Yeah.
We considered moving the festival to the golf course, but we were not happy with the screen size, so we just kept it here. Can you talk a little bit about working in New York, which is also something that you mentioned in the introduction, and how important it is to keep the local production and to work in a real city?
It's really helpful when casting because a lot of actresses live nearby.
Great.
I think it would have been a lot cheaper to make this movie somewhere else. But from the get-go, we knew that New York was such a kind of part of the fabric of the movie itself and the story we wanted to tell and the fabric of Sigrid's story as she imagined it. And so we never even thought about anything else and organized a New York production here. And it's so nice to just be able to point a camera and shoot New York and not think about how to hide the fact that you're somewhere else, you know. It's such a luxury. We've lived in the city since, I guess, 2006.
2006,
Yeah, it's been a while now. And
you know it pretty well.
And this is our third movie we've shot here. And it's just such a lovely place to work. It's always inspiring, and the crews and, talent that live and work here are just amazing. So,
and I think when people are working on a movie, when the cast and crew are from and based here in New York, that feels really good to be able to actually shoot someplace that feels like home to you. And so in talking about the locations and scouting, and it was very, very important for us to try and capture New York in a way that felt like someplace that people lived, as well as someplace that's iconic.
And also someplace where people live in small rent-controlled apartments where it is in the lease that they cannot have a dog, particularly not a 150-pound dog. So, I mean, it really is a New York story in that. And also people bothering you on the street to say things like you like them big and that sort of thing. This is all New York.
I know it's one of the other tragedy in the book. It's like losing the apartment in New York, and you're like, no.
Yeah, we know that no one outside of New York will really know the terror of that, like New Yorkers feel.
That was actually one of the challenges in picking that location, because we thought, well, New Yorkers understand that losing any West Village apartment would be a tragedy, but for the people who don't know New York, we had to find an apartment building in a situation that actually felt like, oh yeah, that's really something I wouldn't want to lose. And most New York apartments don't look that way to people who don't live here.
No, when we were scouting for the exterior of the apartment building, and we worked not far from Washington Square. Like we were like, well, that's the ideal building. That's the building where everyone would just aspire to have an apartment in that building, and then we were able to get it. So it felt especially lucky.
And Sigrid, were you really not working in the script with them, or did you give like different?
No, I didn't.
Ideas?
No, from the beginning, I had this idea that. It was extremely exciting to think that this would be made into a movie, but I never thought that I should be involved in the process. I mean, my instinct was telling me that what would work is just leaving them to see what kind of vision they had. I also knew that it was not going to be a transcription of the book, that these changes were going to have to be made. Because it wasn't a book, and I don't know anything about acting, filmmaking, or screenwriting. So it didn't, I didn't feel any need to be involved, and also, my idea was if the control freak in me got one foot in the door, this could be a disaster. Because if you're involved, if you're collaborating, then I would think, well, my idea is obviously superior to your idea, and that my instinct was excellent. I did the right thing.
It's a perfect answer.
In fact, it's pretty much the first thing I told them when we met. I said, by the way, I am not going to bother you at all.
And it took so long to get the movie made, and we got to know Sigrid so well over the course of those 5.5 years that we figured, well, now she has to like the movie, because now we're friends.
I think they're buying the next book without a review. They're just going for it. You mentioned that Bill Murray wasn't here tonight, but there's also someone else that's missing from the stage, and I think we need to bring someone here.
Oh, here he is. So this is Bing, of course, and Bev Klingensmith, his owner and trainer, and of course, the movie is unimaginable without him.
So I wanted to mention, this festival is not a competitive festival. There's no prizes, or we love every film.
Right.
However, we do have an internal competition. It's a Golden Beast. So the staff vote together to find the best animal performance in the festival. We watch everything. We never had an animal campaigning in person. The first time. We did have Tilda Swinton campaigning very hard for a dog. We had Justine Trier also. But with Apollo being here, I think we have a winner this year.
Oh. Thank you.
It's the most beautiful animal. I want to adopt him.
I don't think he's available.
Why I don't know, things happen, you never know. I'll go walking by the bridge. And, that's all we have time for tonight, but thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.